Right, so everyone has been talking. The Indiana Fever have been doing a lot of promotions and a lot of posting, okay? And they have posted everyone. They have promoted everyone as of late, except for Kelsey Mitchell. The Fever most recently put this up. Let's take a look.
Pay attention to what's not being shown. The Indiana Fever just dropped their season opener promo, their St. Patrick's Day campaign, and multiple workout videos. Caitlin Clark is front and center. Aaliyah Boston is everywhere. Even Damiris Dantas and Lexi Hull made the cut. But there's one person completely missing from every single post: Kelsey Mitchell, the team's leading scorer from last season, a first-team All-WNBA selection. And that absence isn't an accident.
So we got Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston working out. They are clearly promoting these two. You don't see anything Kelsey Mitchell. All right, you got Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. Okay, now this is a promo that the Indiana Fever did. Now, people are asking the question, well, where is Kelsey Mitchell?
Look at that contrast. Same press event, same day, completely different energy levels in how the Fever are promoting their core players. This is deliberate messaging from a front office that's clearly made a decision, and when you understand what's coming this offseason, the strategy becomes crystal clear. The new CBA just got ratified. The salary cap jumped to $7 million per team. That sounds like a lot of room until you realize what it actually means for Indiana's roster construction.
Afford to do this. We can't allow emotions to get in the way of logic at this point. Okay, we can't allow emotions to get in the way of logic because of what happened last season. Even in the latest of their promos, even in the latest Indiana Fever promos, right? So they got this. Okay, now let's take a look at this.
Here's the math that's forcing the Fever's hand. Kelsey Mitchell just made first-team All-WNBA in 2025. That makes her eligible for a Supermax contract worth $1.4 million per season. Aaliyah Boston is entering the final year of her rookie deal, and she's a three-time All-Star who anchors their defense. She's getting a max extension this summer, no question. That's another $1.4 million annually. Now add Caitlin Clark. She's still on her rookie scale contract through 2027, but even with rookie wages, she's earning around $76,000 this season. When she becomes extension eligible in 2027, she'll command a Supermax immediately. Do that math. Mitchell at $1.4 million, Boston at $1.4 million, Clark eventually at $1.4 million. That's $4.2 million locked into 3 players when your total cap is $7 million. You've got $2.8 million left to fill out 10 more roster spots. That's an average of $280,000 per player for your entire supporting cast.
They don't even have Kelsey Mitchell in it, guys. They don't even have her in it. They posted this. This is just Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. So I think the Indiana Fever see the writing on the wall that, hey man, we got to move on. We can't afford to run this thing back. Even for the season opener promo, it's just Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. There's no Kelsey Mitchell in this. There's no Kelsey Mitchell in this, guys.
And this is where the Fever's promotional strategy starts making brutal sense. They're not just randomly forgetting to post Kelsey Mitchell. They're preparing their fan base for what's coming. Because when you're building a championship contender, you don't build around 3 max contracts when 2 of them are on the exact same timeline. Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston were back-to-back #1 overall picks. Clark is 23 years old. Boston is 23 years old. They're a point guard and center combination that fits perfectly together schematically. Boston sets screens, rolls hard to the rim, and protects the paint. Clark orchestrates the offense, creates for others, and spaces the floor. That's your foundation. Kelsey Mitchell is 29 years old. She's been with Indiana since 2018. She holds the franchise single-season scoring record. But she's also a score-first shooting guard who needs the ball in her hands to be effective. And when you already have Caitlin Clark running your offense, you don't need to pay $1.4 million for another high-usage guard who doesn't defend at an elite level.
They should. I just don't think that you can give her that long-term deal. I don't believe you can give her the long-term contract. Even coring her, I don't see how you core her and let her play for a year and then let her walk for free. I think you must gain assets in return for Kelsey Mitchell. Here it says the Indiana Fever have a 1.4 million Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston problem. Okay,
The Fever have 3 realistic options here, and only one of them makes financial sense. Option 1. Sign Mitchell to the Supermax, extend Boston to the max, and try to compete with $2.8 million in remaining cap space. That roster would be top-heavy with zero depth, and in a league where injuries derailed Caitlin Clark's 2025 season, you cannot afford to be that thin. Option 2. Let Mitchell walk in free agency and get nothing in return. That's organizational malpractice. You don't let a first-team all-WNBA player leave for zero assets when you could trade her. Option 3. Use the core designation on Mitchell, then immediately trade her to a team that can afford her contract and wants a proven scorer. You get draft picks, young players, or both. You keep your financial flexibility, and you commit fully to building around Clark and Boston for the next decade.
Worth to 1.4 million per year after she was selected to the all WNBA first team in 2025. Boston, a 3-time All-Star across 3 WNBA seasons, is in the last year of her rookie scale contract, will be getting a pay raise anyway, with the league's new average salary set to fall around $600,000. But Aaliyah Boston is going to be getting a max from Indiana this offseason as well. Here it says Clark, though, is not eligible to sign a Supermax until 2027 when she enters the 4th and final year of her rookie.
Now look at how the Fever are handling their social media. Every single promotional video from the past month features the same 2 faces. Caitlin Clark working out in the gym, Aaliyah Boston running drills. The 2 of them together in that season opener countdown video. The message is unmistakable. These are your franchise cornerstones. This is what we're building around. And notice what they're not doing. They're not posting throwback highlights of Mitchell's 25-point games. They're not running Appreciate Kelsey Mitchell campaigns. They're not doing farewell tour content. They're just quietly removing her from the narrative while the fan base is still focused on the playoff run from last season.
This looks like the Indiana Fever realizing the writing is on the wall, and this is the beginning of the end. You're seeing them move away from promoting Kelsey Mitchell. They are only promoting Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. Michaela Timpson is in it. They have posts of Lexi Hall. I mean, they have posts of other players, but nothing of Kelsey Mitchell, as I believe the Indiana Fever are prepping to move on. Get down in the comments. Let me know what you guys think.
This is how professional sports organizations operate when they've made a difficult decision but haven't announced it yet. You start shifting the promotional focus. You begin featuring the players you're keeping while the player you're moving gets less and less visibility. By the time the official announcement comes, the fan base has already been conditioned to accept it. And here's why this decision, as cold as it sounds, is actually the right basketball move for Indiana's future. Kelsey Mitchell has been loyal to this franchise through 7 years of losing basketball. She averaged 19.2 points per game last season on 46% shooting. She made clutch shots in the playoffs. She absolutely deserves to get paid. But the question isn't whether she deserves a max contract. The question is whether Indiana should be the team that gives it to her when they have 2 younger stars who fit together better and will be in their prime for the next 8 years. The answer is no, and General Manager Amber Cox knows it, the front office knows it, the ownership group knows it. Now they're just preparing everyone else to accept it. Think about what Indiana's roster could look like if they trade Mitchell for assets. Let's say they core her and flip her to a team like Washington or Dallas that has cap space and needs a proven scorer. Indiana could get back a first-round pick, a young rotation player, and salary relief. Now you've got $4.2 million in cap space instead of $2.8 million. That's an extra $1.4 million to spend on depth pieces, 3-and-D wings, or a backup point guard who can run the offense when Clark sits. You could sign 2 quality veterans at $700,000 each. Or you could go after 1 impact player at $1.4 million and use the rest on younger talent. Either way, you're building a roster with actual depth instead of being top-heavy and vulnerable to injuries. And let's talk about the on-court fit, because that matters just as much as the money. Kelsey Mitchell is a score-first guard who operates best with the ball in her hands in pick-and-roll situations. Caitlin Clark is a generational offensive engine who needs the ball to maximize her playmaking. When both of them are on the floor together, one of them is playing off-ball, and that diminishes what makes each of them special. Last season, the Fever's best lineup statistically were Clark and Boston, with 3 versatile defenders around them. Not coincidentally, those were the lineups where Clark had the most space to operate and Boston had the most room to roll to the basket. Adding a third high-usage player into that mix doesn't make you better, it makes you more expensive and less balanced. Compare that to what the Fever could do with Mitchell's $1.4 million in cap space. They could pursue Arik Egunbowale if Dallas doesn't match, giving them another elite scorer who can create her own shot. They could go after Brianna Stewart if she opts out in New York, pairing a versatile forward with Clark in Boston. Or they could stay younger and cheaper, signing 2 rotation wings who defend multiple positions and shoot 38% from 3. The point is, flexibility matters. And when you lock $1.4 million into a 29-year-old guard who doesn't fit your timeline or your best offensive system, you're choosing loyalty over championship construction. Indiana already tried that approach for 7 years with Mitchell, and it resulted in 0 playoff appearances until Caitlin Clark arrived. Now they have a legitimate championship window. Clark is a generational talent who changes how defenses have to guard you. Boston is an elite two-way center who's still improving. The league is expanding, which means more talent dilution and more opportunities for well-constructed rosters to break through. This is Indiana's moment, and they can't afford to waste it by overpaying for nostalgia. So when you see the Fever posting workout videos of Clark and Boston together, when you notice Mitchell's absence from every promotional campaign, when you hear rumors about trade discussions this summer, understand what's happening. This isn't disrespect. This isn't the organization forgetting about a loyal veteran. This is a front office making the hard decision that championship teams have to make. You build around your best players who fit your timeline. You maximize your financial flexibility, and you don't let emotions override logic when millions of dollars and championship aspirations are on the line. Kelsey Mitchell will get paid this summer. Some team will give her that $1.4 million supermax, and she'll deserve every dollar of it. But it won't be Indiana. In 6 months from now, when the Fever are running a deeper, more balanced roster built around Clark and Boston's prime years, this decision will look even smarter than it does right now. So the real question isn't whether Indiana should move on from Kelsey Mitchell. The question is whether they'll have the discipline to actually do it, or whether they'll cave to emotional pressure and mortgage their future for short-term loyalty. Based on these promotional videos, they've already made their choice. Now we're just waiting for the official announcement.